At this time, Reverend Father President, will you come forward and confer the honorary degree, Doctor of Laws, and introduce our commencement speaker?
Will Mr. James D. McKinney, class of 1969, and Chairman of the Spring Hill Board of Trustees, please stand. Miss Rhonda Sarazi, Vice President of Business and Finance, will present our commencement speaker.
An outstanding alumnus, trustee, and fervent supporter of Spring Hill College, you have provided tireless leadership to the Board of Trustees and unwavering commitment to your alma mater, while remaining a devoted husband, father of three, and grandfather of three. You graduated from Spring Hill College in 1969 with a degree in business. You went on to earn a Master's of Business Administration from Loyola University, Chicago. In 1974, you joined William Blair & Company, a Chicago-based investment firm, where as senior advisor, you oversee the development and marketing of fixed income securities. You're a past member of the firm's executive committee, credit committee, and were chairman of the audit committee. You also supervise the firm's municipal and taxable income sales and trading operation and the debt capital markets department. You're a life trustee of St. Ignatius College Prep, a past member of the advisory and development board of the St. Vincent de Paul Center, as well as a past member and chairman of the Finance Committee of the Board of Trustees of La Rabida Children's Hospital. In your professional involvement, you're a municipal executive committee of the Securities Industry Financial Market Association, the Board of Directors of the Bond Dealers of America, and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. You brought your extensive experience in investments and finance to your role as chairman of the Spring Hill College Board of Trustees. You led the charge in securing the financing to fund the transformation of the campus, including the Marnie and John Burke Memorial Library, Nan Ottmeyer Place, the Reverend Gregory F. Lucey S.J. Administration Center, and the Student Center. You walked the walk and personally provided the funding for the construction of McKinney's at the Hill. Finally, and most importantly, as head of the campaign steering committee, you developed a financial and philanthropic strategy that captured the imagination and support of one of the college's leading benefactors, resulting in securing the future of Spring Hill College. Mr. James D. McKinney, for your exceptional leadership, service, and philanthropic support, Spring Hill College is pleased to bestow upon you this day the Doctor of Humane Letters, Honoris Causa.
Wow. Rhonda, thanks for that generous introduction. We're lucky my mother's not here today. She'd make you repeat it. So, Bishop Rodi, faculty, staff, my fellow trustees, parents, friends, and of course, this distinguished class of 2015. It's a real honor to be here today and share a couple thoughts with you. And of course, it's always great to be back at Spring Hill because this is home. Now, it wasn't exactly love at first sight when I first came down here. I came down from Chicago shortly after the Civil War in 1965. And it was 100 degrees. Humidity was about 98%. And you could smell that sulfur in the air from the paper mills. And we had moved into Walsh Hall, which of course wasn't air conditioned, as most of the campus wasn't then. And I laid in my bunk with my shirt sweating, thinking I had just died and gone to hell. Things got a lot better, though. Hey, happy Mother's Day tomorrow. It's kind of a dirty trick that we're sending all these kids in their U-Haul back to your home with their 70-inch TV, that sofa they bought at Salvation Army they can't part with. But it's even a funnier trick that the fact that they don't know that you repurpose their room into a home office gym. So, and by the way, that laundry pile, they can do their own laundry now. They've been washing their sheets every semester for 4 years. So it's awfully ironic that I'm getting an honorary doctorate degree because you see, I came down here to be a doctor. And the immortal Father Yancey, you see his name on the building over there, he gave me a very well-deserved D for distinction in biology. And that ended that dream. Now, I didn't have a plan B, and 3 years later, I didn't have a plan B either. And it's possible, just possible, that several of you out there might not have your whole life planned out yet. Well, don't worry. My first job, I repossessed cars for General Motors. The chairman before me, Jack Schusler, was flipping burgers for Wendy's, and he did such a great job, they made him the chairman and the president. So things get better. I think the best news I can give you is that 30 million of us old goats are going to retire in the next 10 years and make some room for you in the job force. Now, if you ever tear open a fortune cookie and you read that Confucius says thing, and it says, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life, I think that's a crock. Not that it's not important that you get a job that you're doing something you like. That's terribly important. But once you start adding deadlines and quotas and bosses and government regulation, the playfulness of it all starts to wane. Now, some of you I know are going to be in medicine, studying to be doctors and nurses, and I know you're excited about healing the sick. Except for that day that you got to tell somebody there's nothing else you can do for them, and they're not going to make it. Your social workers might have to take a child away from their parents. That's not a good day. And you business grads, you're out to be captains of industry, except that day you got to fire somebody with a big family that you really, really like. And that's not a good day. And that's why they call it work and they don't call it play. Now, my granddaughters are here. My granddaughter, Bridget, goes to preschool. And I asked her a couple of months ago, Bridget, did you have a fun day at school today? And she said, Grandpa, I have fun every day. And I have it on authority from the Vice President of Student Affairs and the Chief of Campus Security that a number of you have reached that state of nirvana right here at Spring Hill. Congratulations, job well done, my friends. But for the rest of you, my antidote to relieve the pain of work is to always be in the middle of some kind of an adventure in your life. Something you were sure you could never accomplish and something that really has nothing to do with what you do for a living. For me, it was scuba diving and marathon running and Ironman competitions and mountain climbing. Recently, it's watercolor painting and riding a big Harley-Davidson motorcycle. This is the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. You art students would know, but you load that brush with yellow paint and you don't know what's going to happen when you hit the paper. It's scary. Now, the thing about an adventure is that even when you're not participating, you can kind of turn your mind off and think about all the complexity of it. And you need that to get some relief from the stress from the job that you love. And the side effect, you may accomplish something you never thought you could do in your life. Now, I do need to apologize to you for my generation and a generation after me that's left you with a nation full of problems, most of which I think could have been avoided. We're leaving you with almost $20 trillion in debt, and that doesn't include unfunded Social Security and Medicare. Then we add in a few wars and bad social unrest, and it's a problem. And in short, we've been living large on your dime. But first of all, don't screw it up, because I want that Social Security check. But don't dismay either, because there really is something you can do about it, and it's going to take a way to fix it, but it's going to take a lot of sacrifice by everyone. And unfortunately, we need the political system to fix that. And these problems, believe me, they're on both sides of the aisle. So I think what we need to do is we need to get rid of a lot of these politicians and replace them with statesmen. And hopefully some of you will ascend to that vocation. The rest of us can fix it with our vote. And I hope by now that you know more about the background and the voting record of the 2 senators and the congressmen that work for you in Washington, more than you do about the Kardashian family. And if you don't, you got some homework to do. Now, if you really want to master this universe, I think you only need to learn how to communicate, which you can do almost by default because it's becoming a vanishing art. I was at a restaurant in Scottsdale a couple of months ago, and I couldn't get in the restaurant because they had it closed for a private event. And they must have been 60 or 70 kids standing in front getting their name tags, and every single one of them was sitting there playing with their thumbs on their iPhone, whatever you do with those things. And what a great opportunity to meet some young people and talk to each other. No one was doing it, and I thought, wow, what a wasted opportunity. You know, texting is a real great way for you to live your life behind a curtain and never get a clue about someone's feelings or their emotions. You know, if I call you on the phones, I can sense at least, you know, if you're having a bad day or if you maybe got a cold. And if I talk to you in person, that data that I get becomes astronomical. I can read your facial expressions, look in your eyes, and with a little practice, know if you're telling the truth or holding something back. And that's absolutely, absolutely imperative in any kind of negotiation. You're going to do plenty of that in your life. So my rule is avoid texting if you can do it with a phone call, and avoid a phone call if you can meet someone in person. Social media. Now, I don't know much about it, but I will tell you this. It doesn't take Edward Snowden to penetrate your Facebook pages. And I mean all the pages. So you may as well clip those pages on your resume. And if you wonder why you don't get hired after you aced the interview, and you didn't use the 3 words of death, which are like, totally, or dude, well, then maybe if you didn't get the job, maybe you should look at that Facebook. Now, a lot of newspapers hire a person called an ombudsman to advise them on whether it's advisable for them to print an article in the paper or not. And I think you need to have an ombudsman that looks at your own Facebook account, and I mean all the pages, and I think that person should be your mother. It's a tough job being a mom. So let's say you finally get the job, you show up for work, and boy, you feel a little lost. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed. Maybe you don't know everything you needed to know. Don't worry about that either. The people that hired you know you have a college degree, and they know you how to work Google. They know you already know everything. Now they want to see if you can learn something. And hang on here. Those are my pages that are sticking in this hot weather here. Now, the one thing you can do to alleviate that, you can be the first person to show up for work in the morning. You can be the last guy to leave. And you can be that guy or gal on Friday afternoon on a beautiful weekend says, I'll stay and work all weekend to get that proposal in, knowing full well you're the #1 seed in tomorrow afternoon's beer pong competition. You make those sacrifices, that doesn't go unnoticed. Be careful on changing jobs. I've seen young people that have been out of school 7 years, they've already had 7 jobs. And I'm not saying, I've been at the same place for 41 years. I'm not saying you got to stay somewhere forever. But be careful when you change jobs. Companies are going to spend a lot of money investing in you to get you to a higher place. And if they think you're a flight risk, they're not going to take the chance. So when you accept a job, do it with the thought that this is the place that I want to retire from. If you do that, I think you'll make some great decisions. Now, by the mere fact that you have been educated at a Jesuit institution, and especially this Jesuit institution, you have forever acquired a Jesuit identity. And you don't need to tattoo St. Ignatius on your forearm to let people know that's the case. They'll know. Now, they'll know your Jesuitness. Now, you know the buzzwords. You're men and women for others, and you're all seeking the magis. But most importantly, you will forever know right from wrong. And that's not what's legal or illegal. That's not what everybody else is doing, and it's not what won't get discovered. But what's right, or what's fair, and what's just. And there'll be plenty of situations over your years that are going to try to get you to compromise those ethics, but you're playing for the long term. If you do make a misjudgment, and you surely will, correct it immediately, apologize. The world is pretty forgiving to a point. So being fair with others will keep coming back to you, and people will keep coming back to you, and no matter what field you enter, it'll have a logarithmic effect on your success. And finally, a word from our sponsor. As you probably know, many of us have been busy with this miracle on Old Shell Road. Like many other small colleges, we've been faced with a very difficult financial situation. And in order to save this school, we called out the Over the Hill gang. Greg Lucey, I was able to call him one night and talk him out of his well-deserved retirement in Washington to take back the reins of this presidency. Our great alum, John Barter, left his retirement and grandkids in South Carolina. We commuted here every week now for 2 years to manage our operations of this school. We just recently tore Dr. Chris Puto, who was supposed to retire, I think, June 1st. And he's going to come back here and be our first lay president. And this is some big sacrifices for people at a time in their life where they thought they were going to have a little chance to relax. And Rhonda Shirazi, I got to tell you, we've been in the trenches a lot together, but this lady has pulled more all-nighters than all of you guys combined in the last couple of years. And then many of our alums, many of them came back and gave us just financially tough, painful gifts to help get this ship righted. And then this faculty here, whether you know it or not, they took a significant salary cut some years ago, and not one of them has gotten a raise the entire time you've been on this campus. And this all happens because they love this school. And for all of us, it's our home. And now it's your home. And without a doubt, these last years working with this troop of dedicated people has been the most rewarding part of my career. The passion, the sacrifice these people have made has been not just amazing, it's really been miraculous. Now, if my figures are right, about 99% of you have had some kind of financial aid since you've been here, not to speak of the help you've gotten from your families. And well, I'm telling you, if you haven't done it yet today, don't let this day go by that you don't give your parents one big hug and thank them for all the sacrifices they made for you. And the assistance you've received had to come from some of our friends and alumni, and in just a moment, you're going to become one of those alums, and we need your help. Today, we pass that torch on to you. And I hope you'll first join your local alumni community, and we have them all over the country. And then you can, when you go back home, you can start by helping us recruit some new students. You guys are rock stars back there. So bring in a couple kids, try to get one that's smarter and better looking than you if that's possible. And then lastly, I'd like to get you on your way to your first act of social justice as an alum. Now, when we raise money from folks, the first question they usually ask is, who else is giving? And it would be a most powerful message if we could say that the entire class of 2015 was on that list. So I'm going to ask you to help me. Now, Starbucks, you can tell me, Starbucks, Chipotle, I don't know any of these fast food places you guys frequent. I don't think any of them has ever given us a nickel. And so I would like you to boycott them for a week or more, whatever it takes for you to stick them for $25. And then I want you to donate it back to the school. And I didn't ask you to give up any beer, okay? So I'm just talking about the cheeseburger or something. Getting you on the rolls will go a long way, and I think you'll have plenty of chances as you move along to be more generous with you when you really amass your treasure. But I promise that would be a powerful message you could give us. So congratulations, Badgers. This is a job well done. I want you to go out there, claw your way to the top, and when you get to the top, keep clawing like the rest of these guys have. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney, for sharing the wisdom of your experiences and your enduring love of Spring Hill College.